Welcome to Core on the Floor, ladies. We are going to be on the floor doing some stuff with our core. So this is going to be a progressive workout. So this is going to start with more foundational and basic movements, and then we're going to progress into some more intermediate to even advanced, okay? So what I want you guys to keep in mind is that you need to think about where you're at and what you need. So this video is meant to come back to so that you can try new things, kind of see where you're at on stuff, test yourself. I want you to feel yourself throughout the workout too, so really try to feel your core and what's going on down there. So before we get started, I want to talk quickly about what is your core and what does it do. So when we talk about the core, we're not just talking about the abs. We're talking about the deep core muscles. So we have our internal and external obliques, which are on the sides. They run down and up, and they really help you with rotation and that sort of thing. The transverse abdominis, which is something we talk about all the time, the TVA is sometimes what we'll say. That wraps all the way around. That's like your corset, so that really holds you in and makes it so that you have good stabilization. So that is where we brace, right? And so when we talk about pulling your seatbelt, or I like to visualize like a pair of sweatpants because I love sweatpants. I like to take a pair of sweatpants and the strings and pull them tight. So that's what you're really pulling into, and that's what we really like to focus on when it comes to fixing your core. And then of course you have the erector spinae, which is the back. So your muscles in the back that go along your spine, that's part of your core, and of course your pelvic floor as well. And then your hips and everything even come into that too. So there's a lot of things going on here, and what the core does again is rotational kind of things, flexion, extension, helps you brace, and it's just mobilizing all of that. So that's why, I mean, it's really important to have full control and to understand. So when we talk about doing core, I'm going to actually have you start laying down here. And one thing, a tip, instead of coming down and then when you want to sit up like this, I want you to actually roll to your side and then roll to your back. This is especially important if you are rehabbing your core because of diastasis or after just having a baby, but it really helps to be gentle with your core. So what I want you to think about right now, we're just going to start without the timer. We're going to start with pelvic tilts. So we talked about this in the recent challenge we just did. So Brittany did a good job of explaining too. But what I want you to do is I want you to take your fingers like L's, and I want you to place the meaty part right here, right on your hip bones, with your fingers pointing down towards your pubic bone. So it looks like a triangle, okay? So when your fingers are pointing down, I want you to start off with like a big no-no where we have the big arch in the back, okay? So this is a big no-no, right? I want you to bring those hip bones, pretend like you're thinking about bringing those hip bones together like your sweatpants, but do not clench your glutes. Let them be squishy. In fact, feel your glutes. Are they squishy? Are they wiggly? That's a good thing, okay? Holding that core, holding that pelvic tilt, you're really focused on engaging that transverse and pulling it all together. Now what I want you to do is, if you can, hold it here, and I still want you to breathe. Keep the shoulders relaxed, and then I want you to breathe out through your rib cage too, and then relax. Okay? So part of core rehabilitation and core strengthening is also your breathing. All right? Really focused on your intra-abdominal pressure, and how much pressure you're putting on your pelvic floor coordinates with how you're controlling your core. Okay, so let's just start off with some pelvic tilts. So each of these exercises are going to be a minute on with a couple seconds in between. So we have our first set here starting with pelvic tilts, and I want you to start practicing that. Here we go. So coming down. So when you're here, your fingers should be nice and flat. Relax, and then bring it back in. Keeping that booty loose. Don't let your legs tighten up. Now each of these exercises is not meant to be pushed through like doing a whole bunch of pelvic tilts, right? You're going slow, control. Breathe in. When you breathe out, you're pulling those hip bones together. When you actually engage that transverse, you're really going to feel that core turn on, and it's even going to start burning up a little bit. We got about 10 seconds here. We're going to add on to heel slides. All right, so what I want you to do, keep your hands right here. We're going to start with this leg. I want you to slide your heel out and then bring it back in. You are not moving your hips, and you're not moving your core, okay? So don't let your hip hike, don't let your back arch. Keep it in control. This is an excellent starting point for somebody who is freshly postpartum or who is new at core rehabilitation. So I'm breathing out as I pull my leg back in. Feeling my transverse fire up. Next up, we're going to do something a bit challenging, kind of different. So you're going to bring your feet up. I want you to take your hands and push them. Put them right against the top of your quads here. Lift up slightly, okay? And I want you to press against your thighs while you're pressing against your hands. So you're doing some counter pressure here. I'm actually shaking. This is really good. So what I want you to look down, if you see a big dome like a bread loaf, then I want you to put your head down, and I want you to think about maybe even just going back to those heel slides, okay? So that tells me that your core isn't quite ready to move on yet. So you're pressing against your legs, and your legs are pressing against your hands. Make sure you're controlled breathing here. For something looking so simple, this is very hard. Relax. All right, pelvic tilt again. We're going to start again. Here we go. So another way to kind of check is making sure, so I'm going to put my hand on my hips, across my hips and across my rib cage. So as I take my breath in, I'm focused on my breath. And when I bring my core together, my ribs are coming down so that they're stacked over my hips. So we talk about that a lot. Try to make sure you're not clenching your glutes. With all of this, there is a lot to be thinking about all at the same time. And it's challenging because everybody kind of reacts or needs to hear different things to kind of get what they're supposed to be doing. So it takes practice, and sometimes it does take some more one-on-one coaching, which is why we definitely recommend seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist or somebody like us one-on-one where we can help you. All right, heel slides. So again, coming down, so you can have your hands on right next to your sides or bring them up on your hips. Again, this is not a strenuous workout. You're not going to be sweating or getting your heart rate up, but this is definitely something that you can come back to and think about getting your core, something that you can do a couple times a week actually. And then you're actually going to build up that basis for a good core foundation. Those quad presses are next, and then we're going to move on to the next segment. There's 4 of them in this workout. Actually, there's 4 and then a bonus. It helps if you have a slidey floor too, but not necessary. it going. All right, quad press. So get set up here and press. You could even probably do this on your tiptoes as well. And you're still gonna feel that engagement across your core. So if this is just a bit too much, bring it down your feet, put your tiptoes down, and you can still feel the same kind of thing. Almost there. And relax. All right, we got just a bit of a break here so I can explain the next ones. So we have next up, so that was the very basic foundational sort of movement. So if you feel like you want to keep going with that sort of thing, that's great. If this is getting a little bit too and when I say too tough, it's not that you can't do this stuff, it's that you're not in control of your core. Like your back is arching, you keep feeling like your glutes are clenching, your hips are hiking. That means that there's some weaknesses that you need to address. All right, so first of all, we're gonna start with marches. So feet are up, you're gonna tap down and then bring it up. So this is where you have that control of that pelvic tilt. Those ribs are stacked over those hips. You're not letting your ribs flare. So when your ribs flare, your back arches. We don't want that, okay? It might help to put a very small towel behind your back if that's something that is a struggle for you. Kind of gives you that feel where you're feeling that towel. Just tapping here. Next is going to be more progressive, so you can keep staying here, or you can start from that the heel slides or that quad press as well. All right, so next up, keeping your knees up, we're going to extend the leg out and then bring it in, other side. If you want more, if you feel like you want more, and you can stay in control here where you don't have that bread loaf, you can bring your hands behind your head with a crunch. So obviously, the lower your leg goes, the more challenging it is. You could be up here too. Make sure you're breathing, not holding your breath. Figure out where you need to be. You might need to play around with things a little bit. That's okay. Again, this is meant for you to come back and try some new moves as you get stronger and you address those weaknesses that you may have. All right, we're going to add on here, so you can stay with the legs, or we're going to do a dead bug. So I have my right hand and my left leg, they're coming down at the same time, and then coming back up and then switching to the other side. Always in control. Again, this is not a race. This is not something where you have to have 30 reps in or something. You're just really focused on getting the right form down, having control of your breath. Adjusting when you need to. So we're going to start with those marches again. Dead bugs are awesome. Once you get to this point, you're definitely feeling this. All right, hands down to your sides, feet still up. We're going to march it out again.
And there's always tons of variations of all these exercises that you can do as well. We're sticking with basics today. And if you're like me, I'm definitely feeling my core. You should be. If you have your transverse engaged where you're pulling that seatbelt together, those sweatpants strings together, you're feeling this. Make sure you're breathing here, keeping those glutes squishy. Ribs are down. Feel your core. How's it feeling? Shake it out a little bit if you need to. Coming back up. Hands behind your head if you wish. Or extending that leg out. Again, you can keep your head down. You could even just go back to the marches. You could start off at the bottom too. This is an option. And again, you're not just like putting your legs up and flopping them everywhere. That's easy to do. You want to make sure that you have that control. Getting some Pilates in here today too. Dead bugs are next. Shake it out. We're gonna break after this here. Arms out, legs up. Here we go. Again, if you want, you can bring it down, regress, which means step it down a little bit. And again, if we say step it down or whatever, it doesn't mean that you're doing awful or that you're weak or something like that. It just means that your muscles just aren't quite ready to get to that advanced point yet. And that's okay. Even people who are way past having kids, like years past their last baby, and they think that they can be doing stuff that's more advanced, they can. But sometimes you need to regress to progress, right? Which means that you need to go back to the basics, which everyone should go back to the basics at some point, and just really refocus on how your core should be feeling, what you should be doing in order to get better in the long run. All right, I want you to stretch out here. You might be feeling this in your hip flexors. That's somewhere we don't necessarily want you to feel, but it is kind of where at that point when you have those marches and stuff, you're gonna feel that. All right, so we're gonna go on our fronts here. So this is where if you had a wall or a chair available, you could use those. I'm just gonna use the floor, otherwise my back's gonna be towards you, but you can certainly use the wall and be doing these planks or a chair. All right, so we're gonna go into a plank hold here. So when you're doing plank, okay, so you can have up here, you can be down here on the knees, or you could even have just one knee down. I want you to really focus on keeping that core engaged, the transverse, those hips together. The glutes are loose, they're relaxed. You're pressing those shoulders up, okay? So the back of your traps up here, you're pressing them up. Your shoulders are stacked over your wrists. You can be on your elbows for this as well. Just hold it here. Good, last 20 seconds. I want you to do a knee tap, okay? So if you're up here, you're like this. If you're on your knees, tap to the sides. Figure out where you need to be. Be honest with yourself, be gentle with yourself, be patient. Good, relax. All right, we're gonna grab that ball and we're gonna go into putting between your thighs here. So first option here, I want you to just squeeze that ball, your knees are on the ground, and again, finding that core, pulling that transverse together, and just breathe here.
it should be burning. Like you should be burning right now, okay? Now, if you want a little bit more, curl those toes under and go into a hover. Hold. Hover, hold. Ooh-wee. Just hold it. Sometimes holding still is the hardest thing to do. A lot of isolation going on right now. That's very challenging. Bring it down. All right, you can put your ball aside. We're gonna do bird dogs here. So you can start here with just legs. So bringing your leg back, keeping those hips down, okay? Keeping the hips down so they're not coming off to the side. You're not opening up your leg. The top of your foot is facing down towards the ground. You're not letting your back arch either. Core is tight, okay? If you'd like, you can add on arms. You can always try to see if you can keep that body stabilized and straight. Again, try to keep that core from letting that back arch. Part of the core's responsibility is protecting your back. The stronger your core, the less chance for your back to have issues. Good. We're gonna start from the top here with that plank. Shake it out, do a little cat-cow. All right. If you need that wall or that chair, go ahead and grab it. Here we go. So, you can be on your knees again, be on one knee. If you were on one knee before, go to the other knee this time. You could be on your elbows and doing that plank, pressing through your elbows or your hands, wherever you're at. You're not letting your head dangle, you're not bringing your chin up. Nice neutral spine. Try to keep your butt from going up. Core is tight. Let's do some knee taps. Those are just add-ons if you want. Again, if you're on your knees, tap to the side. If you're on one knee, you can just simply switch in between them. Or just a combination of any of those, right? As long as you're keeping those hips down and that core engaged and tight and in control. All right, coming back here, grab that ball. Ball between the thighs. So, option one, keeping your knees on the ground, just focusing on bringing those hips together, squeezing that ball between your thighs. Option two, you bring your knees up, pressing your shoulders through your wrists. If you have wrist issues, and a tip would be you could either go into like gorilla hands here, so you clench your fists, or if you have weights, you could hang on to some weights so that you don't have to worry about your wrists being out of alignment. Hold it here. Squeeze that ball. Again, you can bring it down, go back into that basic move here. Whatever you need to do, combo it. And relax. All right, taking this out, bird dogs or a variation of it. Another option here, you could just do hands. So even just doing a tabletop, because remember, gravity is trying to pull that core down, right? So you could just do arms as well. Really focusing on not letting the rest of that body move. So it's really stabilizing all of you here. So the thing about this is when you're doing this right, it is really challenging to stay stable because you have your opposite leg, opposite arm going out from each other. Making sure you're not opening up those hips or getting all wonky, right? And it's not about getting your leg way far up. You could even have it a little further down. That's okay. You want to have a neutral spine. All right. You're going to have a break here. Side plank, last segment, and then a little bit of bonus. Okay? So, you can grab your ball. You can be on your elbow or on your hand. Okay? You could have one leg or both legs stacked, or you could have one leg down. This is all your choice, all right? So kind of think about where you need to be. We're gonna bring that ball up, and we're gonna hold it here. Good, hold it. Now taking that ball, bringing it down, and up. Keep it going. So again, you could stack those, or you could bring one foot, your front foot in front of the other. So I like to call these picking apples. You're picking an apple and you're tossing it underneath you. I've never picked apples like this, but somewhere I heard it. That's what they called it. Good. Try to make sure you're not like way opening up your chest, and then you want, this is obliques right here, guys. Good, you got 3, 2, 1. And relax. Good, we're switching to the other side. And begin. Hold it, pick where you need to go. Good, let's pick apples. So make sure that you're looking down. Is your shoulder stacked over your elbow or in your wrist? Okay? You're not like way down here. You want to try to keep your body in alignment. We talk about having that neutral spine and good posture. During exercise, it's super important to be thinking about that too. Good. Or you can have your one knee down. That works. You guys are doing amazing. Keep going. Feeling that burn. Good. All right. Next up, I want you to lay on your back. I want you to bring your knees apart, and we're going to come up into a crunch here. Okay? Just a crunch. So, if you have diastasis, I want you to be very mindful of your breath here. So looking down, can you see that dome? Is it peaking? If that's the case, then you want to be doing those marches or those heel slides, okay? This one is not a beginner one. Now the nice thing about the butterfly is that your hip flexors are completely out of it. So if you try to do a sit-up right now, like if you can do sit-ups with your knees up, great. But if you put your knees off to the side and you can't really do much of a sit-up, that means that you're using a lot of hip flexors for doing a regular sit-up. So this takes the hip flexors right out of it. Keep that core tight here. All right. Roll to your side, starting from the top. We have our side plank here. Oops, I'm going to start over here. So, pick where you need to go, align your body, and begin. And this time, actually, I'm going to have you pick and then dip. Pick and then dip. Good. You could do this on the side of a couch too, guys. So if you're on your one knee, good. Looking amazing, everyone. Keep it going. Going to the other side. Make sure you're breathing. Never, don't hold your breath. Woo! Other side. Hold it. Get in position and begin. So again, figure out if you want to bring both feet. You can stagger it, you can stack them. It can be on your elbow or your wrist. Your choice. Again, lots of variations within all of these. Woo! This is a good one. Doing amazing, everyone. Keep it up. We're almost to the end. We got a little bonus here for you at the end. Got 10 seconds. If you feel like your form is going out, means you need to back it down. All right, back to those butterfly crunches. Ready, and go. Make sure you're breathing here, breathe out as you come up. Again, if you see that doming, then you need to back it down. You could be going back into those sliders, right? Or even you could do the marches, but you don't want to see that doming. Relax that booty. If you're feeling it, tighten up, or you're feeling tense down there, relax. Whew. All right. Give you a little bit of a break. We are going to do some earthquakes. This is your bonus round, okay? Earthquakes, some of my favorite things, especially in bar class. All right, so we are going to take your ball or your pillow or whatever it is, you're going to tuck it underneath your tailbone, okay? We're going to take our hands, we're going to bring them up here, and then I'm going to have you lean back. Nice, roll those shoulders back, long necks, feet are about shoulder width apart here. We're going to hold it back here, and we're going to pulse down. So the awesome thing about having that ball or that support behind your back is that you're really focused on your core rather than, like in Pilates, a lot of times they'll do this, but they don't have any support behind their back, right? That's really tough on a lot of people because we like to have that support. So roll the shoulders back. Good. Now I want you to lift it up and bring it down. Up and bring it down. If you want a little bit less, you can put your hands behind your knees, like so. My hair is just crazy right now. Good. 2 more. Bring it back, pulse it back again. Find your core. If you need a little less, take a break. Come on up, bring your hands back behind your knees, and you can be pulsing like this. Totally fine. Good. All right, we're gonna pretend we have a ball in our hands. We're gonna pass it underneath, like a figure 8. Keep that lean back here. Got less than a minute. Woo! 4, 3, 2, 1. Lean it back. I want your hands to like a prayer here, and we're going to twist. So if you have diastasis, you want to make sure that you're going slow and maybe not twisting all the way, okay?
And making sure you got your breath under control. Good. All right, lean back, hold it back here, pulse it back. Almost there. Hold it. Woo, shaking. There's the earthquake. And stop. Oh, nice job, you guys. All right, you put your ball aside. Let's lay on the floor here, roll it over, and stretch out the whole body. Just a real quick stretch. I'm gonna arch my back, kind of feel a little bit more here. Good, and actually I'm gonna take my ball, or you grab your ball or your pillow, place it behind your upper back, adjust it if you need to. This is also a great way of opening up that chest, elongating that core. Good. Stretch it up top. All right, you can take that out. Go ahead and roll to your side and to the front. Go into a cobra here. Nice. Curl under, downward facing dog. Back to cobra. Nice job, guys. That could have been very easy or very challenging, depending on how well you were able to control your core. So again, this is one of those things where you're going to come back to this and you can change it up however you need to. This is a guidance, so from more foundational stuff, more to the harder stuff, okay? So you can kind of see how that progressed. If you have any questions, me and Brittany are always here to help with core questions or anything else. And of course, engaging your pelvic floor throughout the whole thing as well. All right, have a wonderful day, you guys, and we'll see you soon.